Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Perkins Custom Swim Bait channel. In today's video, what we're going to do is my wife and I had a good evening out on a local lake here in Tennessee. This lake has a lot of, hybrid bass, striper, and then it's got all three species of your black bass. So we went out for a Thursday evening, just kind of a beautiful evening here in the spring. So got out and went out and caught some fish. So here's the footage from that day. Hope you enjoy, and if you'll stick around after the fishing footage, we'll go over kind of what caught everything on rod, reel, tackle, the whole 9 yards. So see you in a few. right, so let's go ahead and hop in to our rod, reel, line, whole 9 yards tackle setup as to kind of what I was using that day to catch those 2 hybrids and then the 1 largemouth. You know, when I go fishing for like your hybrid or striper or things like that, I do typically throw an A-rig a lot. I know really the A-rig kind of came out to be as part of that, you know, really heavily to do with the striper and the, trolling for them and things like that. So I do still use it. This is a custom A-rig that I built. That is just your normal 5-wire A-rig. I do use flex wire so that it'll pulse in the water. For my jig heads, I'm using the 1/8 ounce, actually all around. These are the 6 cents jig heads. I decided to give those a try. Really just, I wanted a really good stout hook, and they had a pretty good hook in them. As far as the color scheme, I'm really going pretty well natural for the dummy baits. This is just that red pearl, or Pro Blue Red Pearl from Kitech. On the bottom here, I've got the sight flash, 2 sight flash minnows, and then I do have a chartreuse shad as just kind of my bowed color. It looks like that one's almost seen better days. But that's what I was using. Actually, I caught them on the sight flash. They were not really going after that chartreuse that particular day. No really idea why, but it's what ended up happening. Line, I'm using 20-pound fluorocarbon. I want to say that this is Seagar Brazex. I think that's what I'm using. I bought some new line. I bought the new, I think it's the new Daiwa Fluoro. Not the Samurai and not the Hidden Fluoro, but the new one that they just come out with, to give that a try. See how I like that, but we'll cover that in another video. All right. As far as rods go, this is the new rod for me. This is the Daiwa Kage series. This is their A-rig rod. I think that's upside down, but regardless, it is their A-rig rod. You know, I got this rod to kind of double as a soft swim bait rod, which soft swim baits being kind of in that, I would say like 2 to 3 ounce range. It's rated 1 to 4. I don't like this rod for like a Magdraft or a treble hook bait, but if I'm throwing something kind of like a 68 HUD or a working class 0 Citizen 6, it would probably handle the Citizen 7, to be honest. My concern with the 7 is because that hook is so large, to be able to really drive that home, to be able to set that for that big weedless hook, I just don't know about it. But I don't have any concerns about throwing like the Citizen 6 on this, as well as like your Magdraft freestyles with the either the jig hook or the weighted belly weight. I also like throwing the 6 cents whales on this if I'm using the jig hook or the belly weighted weedless swim bait hook, like the beast hook, or the I've been trying the BKK Titan diver too. So both of those work really well. No big issues on either one of those. Reel. This is the Daiwa Lexa 300. This is the 6-3-1. I use the 6-3-1 on my slower moving baits, something with just a constant retrieve. I just find that for me personally, it's a whole lot easier for me to kind of keep my pace and not overwork the bait. So with the A-rig, it gives me plenty of strength to be able to wind it and not like really have much fatigue whatsoever. It's super comfortable reel to fish. It's got the big wind grips on it, big giant handle. So when you lock into one of those big hybrids or a striper, you've got a lot of leverage to be able to work with it. And as you saw in the video, I mean, the rod really takes it really will bow really nicely with those fish. So it's a lot of fun throwing. I've really enjoyed this combo. But like I said, with the A-rig rod, I bought it kind of to double as a soft swim bait rod, but more of the jig hook, weedless swim bait hooks, not really the Magdraft or the treble hook, the Rising Sun style baits. I've got other rods that are more suited for that, in my opinion. But so that's the first one. That is the Alexa with the Daiwa Kage A-rig rod, and you know, as the rod's name is, I was throwing the A-rig on it. But the A-rig, I will keep an A-rig in the boat all year round, just mimicking a school bait. So what I will do though is after we get through the winter time, typically I cut the A-rig off and the A-rig's in the boat, and I'll use it if I need it, not as a primary tool. I'll typically start switching to those like 6 cents and working class 0. That's typically where I go personally. I just like both of those baits, the way that the tail kicks, and then with the whale, it's got a really nice like head shake on it once you get the speed right. So between those two, those are my two primaries, and that's just kind of what I do personally. All right, let's hop into the other one. All right, second rod and reel. This one is of no surprise to anyone. I'm sure everyone has seen me throw this a number of times. This is the 8-inch Magdraft. This is in the whiteback shad color, the clear belly with like the blue ice kind of look on the top. You know, that fish, and I'll put a picture of it right here. The fish was only about 4 inches longer than this bait. It was only about a 12-inch largemouth. It was very small. But it goes back to the statement that it doesn't matter. Just throw the baits. The baits will work. You may not catch a ton of these fish, but what you will end up finding is your biggest and your most active fish. Now in that situation, I definitely caught and found a small one, but you know, it happens. That's just part of it. All right, rod, reel, line. I'm throwing this on 12-pound P-line CXX copolymer. I really like the line. I've had no issues with the line, and 12-pound CXX, which is their extra strength, if you compare that, it's actually really comparable to like 20-pound fluorocarbon by a diameter stance. So I don't really worry about it a great deal unless I'm getting into something really unique. You know, and the other thing is I like a line that's a little bit more of like a neutral buoyancy, not so much a sinking line or a floating line. It just has its pros for me. So that's the line. And then rod, this is the 795 Dobbins Fury. You know, it's a workhorse. This was my second swim bait rod I ever got. I love using it for the Magdrafts, the Rising Suns, you know, small glide baits, small multi-joints too. I don't typically throw multi-joints on this because I've got it pretty well set up the way I want to with the reel. And the reel is the Daiwa Tatula 200 in the 6.3 to 1. And the reason I use that 6.3 to 1, once again, is same deal with the Alexa, is it gives me that slow, constant, I don't have to try to force myself to slow down. I am notorious to trying to fish fast. I really like to move and, you know, run and gun a lot in the sense of really cover a lot of water. So the 6.3 to 1 helps me slow down to where I'll keep the trolling motor low enough to where that 6.3 to 1 will keep up with it, and it keeps the Magdraft moving towards me while still getting the head shake and the tail kick. Very important to you to get both of those with the Magdrafts. As far as tweaking a Magdraft or, you know, modifying it, I do not modify the 8-inch. I've got a couple of other previous videos where I talk about some of the modifications I make to the 6-inch Magdraft due to where my fish tend to sit in the water column. If you're interested in a standalone video, just let me know down in the comments. I'd be more than happy to go over kind of what I do to a 6-inch Magdraft, specific to very clear water situations due to the fish typically holding a lot deeper. Be more than happy to do that. Just let me know if you'd like to see that. But to the 8-inch, I don't do anything. It runs plenty deep enough. I've had this thing, you know, somewhere between 6 to 10 foot, which is typically around where I would want it. Even if my fish are holding in 20, I don't really feel like 10 foot is a lot for them to come up for. So I'm not too concerned about it. and it's just an overall great setup. Now, I will start slowly transitioning away from a Magdraft in the summertime as this water's warming. Like I was on the lake this past weekend, and the water's right now 63. We've been having a lot of like 80-degree days, so the water's warming up really quick. So my game plan now is, okay, done the Magdraft, start switching things up now. So now we'll be getting to the Rising Suns, the 6 cents whale, and then the working class zero. At least that's just my change. I know a lot of people throw all of those baits, you know, year round. It's just kind of how I make my transition, is once the water starts getting warmer, I start switching to those baits. And then I'll really start throwing like your Rising Sun top hook once those bass start getting out on the ledges, they start moving deep again, just so I can get the bait down there because of how heavy it is. So I'll be throwing that, and then I'll be throwing some of those. But we'll do a completely different video for fishing deep. That's in the post spawn, and in the summertime, we'll do a completely different video related to that stuff. So we'll get there, but not right now. But that was the game plan that day. It was a great day. We had a beautiful evening, and it was nice and warm. Didn't have to worry about getting cold. And especially, you know, right at the end of March, that was when that video was shot. You know, it's hard to beat that. So I hope everyone's enjoyed this. I appreciate everyone sticking around with me, because I know that my videos have been a little bit sporadic this spring. I'm going to try to get in a little bit more of a routine cadence. We might only be able to do 2 a month versus every week. So I'll try to get it at least out on the 1st and 3rd Tuesday of every month, just to try to gain us some more consistency with some of the footage coming out. I appreciate everyone watching. Thank you all so much for staying tuned and being here with the channel. I really appreciate it. Appreciate everyone, especially commenting down below. I really enjoy reading comments. I enjoy responding to you. If you reach out to me, I promise you I will reply back, because I really enjoy conversations that everybody has. So if you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to put those down in the comments. I love to be able to talk about this, especially the big swim baits. We're finally getting into my favorite season of the year, which is spawn moving into like June, when that glide bait bite really turns on in my area. My sweet spot for that glide bait is pretty much from now to July. After July, it kind of goes downhill, and it's really spotty as to how well it is in July, depending on the water temperature. If we have a really hot year, it will drastically speed up, you know, when that bite peaks and when it's gone. It's not to say they won't hit it the rest during the summer. It's just, I tend to do better on wake baits if the water's getting really hot. So we'll talk about that in another video too. Got a lot of fun stuff planned for this year as far as videos go. So be sure to like this video. That helps get this video out to more and more people. Please also subscribe down below. It is completely free. I don't make anything off of it. You're not like signing up for anything. All that does is it gives you little notifications when new videos comes out. If you like hit your little subscriptions on your YouTube tab, you can see that there's a little bubble that'll pop up beside Perkins Custom Swim Bait that there's a new video that you haven't seen yet. So I hope everyone has a great day whenever you're watching this. Hope everyone is catching a ton of fish this spring. It's going to be fun. The smallmouth are just now starting to really get on the bed right now, so the largemouth will be next, and then we'll get into a lot of fun within the post spawn, a lot of glide bait fishing. You all know that I love to throw the glide baits. I do have a couple of projects in the works, so be staying tuned. Be sure to follow on the Instagram and the Facebook page. That's where you'll see a lot of the updates as far as like some of the new baits that are coming out. I do have a new Jethro model that'll be coming out soon. It is getting ready to go to the mold. So once it gets molded and we get some production into it, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to spend a lot of time with it here in the next 3 months, and we'll see as to how it does. It's a big bait. It's an 11-inch bait from tip of the nose to the end of the tail. Well, the actual resin piece, and then you'll have the brush tail behind it. So it's a big bait. It's gonna be a lot of fun to catch some big fish on. So stay tuned, we're gonna have some footage on that. We're definitely trying to move it up into the bigger baits. I had to build what I wanted, had to carve it, so it's gonna be fun. So hope y'all enjoy. I know I'm rattling on a little bit, but you know, I enjoy fishing. I enjoy talking about fishing, and I especially love talking about big swim baits. So hope everyone's having a great day. I will see you on the next video. Talk to you later.